This is Rick Baucom. I recently spent some time with Rich Hand at his studio in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We discussed his new book, My Life Ignored. Rich, tell me a little bit about your career choices.
Oh, those are choices, as you will notice in my book, are in quotes. I think a lot of us have the same experience I have. You kind of fall into things, you know, depending on what your family does, what your dad does, what your friends do. You end up in careers that you don't always choose. You just are there, you find yourself there, and then one day you realize, do I want to be here, or do I want to be somewhere else? And some of the choices I made, I grew up in the bar-restaurant business. I have two uncles that owned restaurants, so I spent a lot of time cleaning glasses, bartending, waitering, cooking, all of those fundamental things. But one of the great things that I found in that business is you deal a lot with people. And in the famous chapter, because of that career choice, I ended up bartending in the Scotch and Sirloin in Boston. That's where the Celtics and Bruins used to hang out, and many other famous celebrities. So I have some stories in that chapter about that. But through my life, I've been a trash man, and I'm very proud of that. I did everything from picking up garbage to throwing bull in the management room. I spent about 15 years in that industry, whether it was throwing trash or throwing bull. I've held almost every position in a trash company that there is, except for accounting. So I've spent a lot of years in the trash room, and it has given me such a foundation to understand how important it is to be confident in what you do. You know, many people in that trash business, some of the greatest people in the world, but because they're in that business, when they're at a party or somewhere in a social event, somebody asks them what they do, and the blood drains out of them because they work for a trash company. I was always proud of being in a trash company. I think it's a great business to be in, and you know, there's nothing wrong with work. All work is good work, and I just want to encourage people out there, for all those hundreds of thousands of people out there doing trash as a business, be proud of what you do. I always wanted to fly, and I was always afraid to fly, so I don't know if that makes sense, but I would sit and watch planes fly, and I just had this thing about flying. So what I did was, I was too old to get training to be a pilot, and it was too expensive, so I went tried to become an air traffic controller, and I was on the list and did all the interviews, and George Bush Sr. Rehired all the Patco workers and put the rest of us down to the bottom of the list, so that dream kind of went away. I've done sales in my career. I'm now the executive director of an IT membership organization, which I absolutely love. And if you told me I was going to be, if I could create the perfect job for me that is a normal job, not a politician or a musician, this would be it. I get to deal with people all the time. I get to write. I get to be around great people. Wonderful culture. So, you know, I couldn't have started here because I needed all of that foundation to get where I am today, which is running a membership organization. And there's just no defined career route. So when I say choices, I had very few choices. I think every job was a foundation for the next one, and it made me realize this is what I wanted to do. When I was in sales, it helped me with presentation skills, which I now use in my life as a politician, as well as my time in a boardroom. So it's really what you do in your life builds the foundation of where you are today, and you need to dream about where you're going to be tomorrow. And what you're doing today, is that where you want to be, or is it a stepping stone to where you want to be tomorrow? So, you know, I talk about that in my career choices section of the book, and I think everybody can relate to it. It's a pretty common story out there in the world.
Speaking of your book, Rich, this is your first. Will you write another?
Well, this one this one took me quite a long time because I found a few hours here, a few hours there. My wife's a nurse, and she works weekends occasionally, and I would get up early and poke away at it, and you know, type a few things here and there. And when I was traveling, I traveled quite a bit, and I would do it while I was away. writing a book takes a lot of commitment, but if you're passionate about the subject, and as my wife will tell you, I am passionate about me, maybe too much, you'll find time to do it. You just keep plugging away. Every day you do a page, a paragraph. Once you get the concept for the book, you really, it takes a life of its own, and you know where to go back to, and you just do it. To write another book, I'm thinking if I ever get into office, I may do a diary. I'm reading Ronald Reagan's diary right now, and it's a really interesting read because he's written, every day he was in office as president, he wrote. And I think that's a great concept for a book. I think real life stories are a great concept for books, that there's always, people are interesting, and things we do are very interesting. And interesting to other people. So if I do another one, it'll probably be something in a diary form, or I talk about passion and leadership. I may do something there, but I have a couple other things I need to do. I would love to run for office again, and I need to do another CD because I haven't done a CD in about 3 years. So that's those two take priority. But someday maybe I don't take it off my list of things to do. I always keep that list full of things and just start picking away at them.